Back them up.
As I'm sitting there on the ice in the wet ground and screwing them away. I can't. I think I'm up to date. I think I am. I'm good. But it was Sunday morning. I'm up there by myself. Sitting there going, kidding me. And I pull them out and it's just bleeding all over. That's
Hopefully that's not
about
an
it.
indication.
Yeah. I mean, it's going along. So yeah, a little slower since that I'm moving a little slower.
You're trying to get us a version.
Right. Oh.
They were passed out.
Nice.
All right, it's 10 o'clock. We will call the meeting of the Lenawee County Homeland Security and Local Emergency Planning Committee to order. Start with a roll call.
Dave Craig.
Here.
Sheriff Bevere, Commissioner Collins. Here. Lieutenant Purdue. Micah Hasensaw.
Here.
Is here for Ben Ricker. Chief Massengill.
Here.
Is here for Chief Damon. Monica Hunt.
Here. Here.
Kyle Brown is here for Jessica Nelson. Nick Wilson.
Here.
Larry Van Alstine.
Here.
Travis Howell. And Tony Garcia.
Here.
We have a quorum.
Right. All to the public. All right. We've all had the meeting packet for some time. We have a motion to approve the current agenda.
If there's no changes, I make a motion.
Support.
Corinne and Sheriff and Nick. All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? All right. That is approved. Move on to the minutes of the last meeting. If you had a chance to look those over,
There are no additions or corrections. I move they be accepted or submitted.
a motion to accept. A second,
Second.
second by Tony. All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? All right. Financial statements. Craig.
So you've got the financial statements in your packet. FY 22, we have $1,600 remaining and we'll address that later in the agenda. FY 23 with a request that's in the agenda will be fully spent. And we have an active donation account again. We received a donation from TLC as well as the law enforcement agencies. And then we've also spent some money out of that already to buy a dropping mechanism for one of our drones so it can carry a payload and drop it if necessary. And unless anybody has any questions.
Okay, if we have no questions, a motion to accept the financial statement report.
Make a motion to accept the
Okay,
report.
I'll second.
second by the sheriff. All in favor?
Aye. Aye.
Anyone opposed? All right, moving on to the EMC report, which you guys have all got a copy of.
Yep, that was attached in the packet and I'll just entertain any questions that anybody might have. It's kind of lengthy because we didn't have a meeting in October, so. Anybody have any questions on anything on the report?
Okay, if we have no questions, I entertain a motion to accept it as delivered.
So moved.
Second. Somebody second?
Yeah. second.
Oh, okay, Craig, thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? All right. E911 board update.
My record report from the November 14th meeting is attached. I will answer any questions.
My report from the November 14th meeting is attached and I will answer any questions that anyone has.
All right, no questions. We have a motion to approve.
So moved.
And second. A motion and a second, all in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? All right. The drone subcommittee report.
So that report was also attached. In addition to the things listed on there, we did just have some training yesterday on the Cape Watch software. They trained some of our pilots on how to use that and the ins and outs of that whole system. Otherwise, that'll entertain any questions that anybody might have on that.
I have a question just on the Cape Watch. I know we approved that funding last meeting, I believe. So we had a call out. That we had a subject that PD was looking for, and I didn't realize it until afterwards, but I was streaming using the Cape Watch, and they were actually watching it in dispatch, just so everybody knows. So it was really useful because dispatch could see what PD was doing on the ground, and they were pinging his phone, and it was actually pretty neat how it could all work together. So definitely a good investment for that.
Chief?
Just for curiosity, how big is the payload that it can carry with the new mechanism on it?
I believe it's 20 pounds.
Okay.
So that's for the large drone we have. We're also looking at buying one for the M30 that we have, which will be a smaller payload of just a couple pounds.
Sure.
Just out of curiosity, with drones getting so much publicity as of late, do we have a way of knowing when the drones are up? And do we track that at all? So if a call comes into dispatch, we have that ability. So for example, if someone takes it somewhere to for some training or dog and pony show, are we able to, does dispatch know when that happens? Because those calls will probably come into dispatch.
When our drones go up,
Yes.
yes. So when it's an active scene, the incident commander requests that drone through dispatch, and then dispatch sends out the active alert to our pilots. So dispatch knows when those drones are up. When we do training, they are supposed to notify dispatch to let them know we've got this drone at whatever location to do training, so that they know where it's located.
And then we also have a capability if anybody asks, hey, on this date, was this flying? So we keep track of all of that,
Yep.
correct?
And
Okay.
anytime our drones fly, whether it's training or a live incident, it's logged.
Got it.
Any other questions? All right, a motion to accept the drone subcommittee report.
I'll make a motion to accept the report.
Second. Corinne, all in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? All right, moving on to old business. The remaining FY 2022 money.
So we have some money remaining for FY 22, and I just wanted to bring that to everyone's attention because we only have until May 31st to spend it. It's actually a little more than 1,600. I just found out at a regional meeting on Thursday that they took some regional funding that isn't going to be spent and divided it up amongst all the locals. Our portion of that is roughly $4,400. So in reality, we have about $6,000 that we need to spend by May 31st. I do have a couple of proposed projects from our tactical support team that I'm putting in the bank, so to speak, so that usually around March, the region decides there's other locals that can't spend their money, and they say, okay, who's got a project that's ready to go? So that we can spend this money. So I usually try to have a couple of projects in the bank to utilize that money. One is for tactical entry tools, and one is for cold weather gear for the tactical support team. So I just want to throw that out there that there are a couple of projects that I do have ready to go. If there aren't any other projects that we can spend that money on. The cold weather gear would spend that entire 6,000, as well as we would buy 5 sets of tactical entry tools. That would cover that $6,000 as well.
Question, Nick?
That's the tools and the cold weather gear. That's all one. That would be the two separate.
Yep. So the tactical gear or the cold weather gear would be one project. And to get enough sets for everybody would be about $6,000. And then the tactical entry tools would be a separate project. And I believe they were like $1,200 for the set. And to buy 5 sets of those would be $6,000.
They have 5 reaching teams.
They would just want 5 to have in multiple, 5 sets to have in multiple vehicles. Ideally. I mean, there's a number of ways to split that up. We wouldn't have to buy all 5 if there was another project that somebody had that we wanted to do, and they could get at least 1 set or 2 sets, or if there's no other projects, then we want to use it all for 5 sets.
We have nothing to vote on the table today, right?
Not unless somebody wants to make a motion on one of those.
And if we don't make them, if we don't have nothing on the table, then if the region comes out with extra money, we might lose that.
We have to spend this by May 31st. Our next meeting is February, so we have some time if somebody's got a different project they want to use that money for to bring forward in February. Otherwise, and if we have a separate project, then I would hold these 2 back for the additional regional money, if any becomes available. If we have no other projects come forward in February, I'll put on the agenda to use, if we don't have a motion today, to use one of these projects, and then I still have one project in my back pocket for additional regional money.
That's what.
Sure. The funds that need to be spent by May, do they need to be committed or actually spent by that period of time?
They have to be spent, and if it's equipment received.
There is some urgency to it.
So I have to have it spent by May 31st, because then that gives a month to get the reimbursement paperwork in to the region and the state, because the grant actually expires on June 30th.
So if the equipment, as you say, needs to be paid for and received by that time, what's the time delay between ordering and receiving? Do you know? For these 2 projects, everything's in stock. So it would be relatively quick to receive. Okay.
Is there any preference on which one they said
He-
when they need more, or?
he wants the cold weather gear. I think I'll be able to get, if we do one of those projects with our money, I should be able to get the other one through the regional money, because every year there's always money left. I mean, I've used that money for the last 3-4 years now to buy significant amount of either equipment or services or what have you. So I'm confident we would end up with both. If there's no other project that brought forth that committee deems to be more important.
So the cold weather gears preferred, how much that would spend all of that would outfit the entire team?
Correct.
And then I know that the big hope would be to have multiple sets of that entry equipment, which my assumption probably is it's probably placed out in different vehicles as it goes out, but it might be better spent to say, hey, let's do the gear and then a set or 2 sets of extra or entry equipment.
with our money, we only have enough. If we do the gear, we only have enough for the gear.
Right, right. I'm saying if we got extra.
Right. Yeah, depending on what the region may,
The priority.
the region may come back and say, we've only got this much extra. Does somebody have something on that? And then that's where I can say, you know, this project is for this amount, but I can take half of that.
Right.
I did that with one of the projects last year. I can't remember what it was we bought, but I said it might have been the rifles. I think it was, we bought another set of the training rifles through the regional money that was left over. And I didn't have enough to buy how many I requested. And I said, well, I can get away with this many instead of what I've asked. And
Say the cold weather gear is not available really for anyone else to lend them. But we have 8 sets of breaching equipment. and There's one in every car. So if they called us and said, hey, we need to do a door, we could get them that gear.
But I don't see any significant urgency. However, it appears to me that what's on the table is these two separate pieces. And that there is a larger preference for the cold weather gear than the entry tools. It would seem to me that that's, at least my guess is, that's what would be voted on in February if in fact it were then. If they can be received earlier and put into use earlier, then I would move that we purchase the cold weather gear with the funds existing.
I'll second that.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Do we have any more discussion on that?
I'm just thinking that if we wait 2 more months, by the time it's in,
It's not
cold weather's right. I mean, really, they need it now. It's in stock. I'd hate to not spend the money if it's needed.
That's one way of guaranteeing we don't get cold weather.
That's perfect. I'm for it.
Just wish.
All right, anything else? Okay, we'll call a vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? All right.
under new business, I do have a somewhat of a new request. So it's for another TECC class, which is Tactical Emergency Casualty Care. 287351 is what we have remaining out of FY23. We did a class last spring out of FY23 for the TECC. So I don't have to write another grant request with the state. If we approve this here, it's ready to go because it's same grant year. I can add it to the same request that's already been done. And that class will be March 8th and 9th, I believe, at Madison Township. And basically what that's for our firefighters that want to be on our rescue task force. It's a two-day class, Saturday, Sunday. And we do have members, they are technically on the rescue task force, but one of the requirements is to have this class, and we do have members that need this class. So it's not something where we don't know if we'll fill the class up or not.
We have a motion to approve the grant request.
So moved.
Support.
Sure. All right, how many people are training for 2,700 or 2,800 bucks?
We can put up to 24.
That's a good deal. Any other questions or discussion?
And actually, the total cost of class is 4,500. Our instructors are getting us the additional funds through a rural EMS grant.
Any other questions? All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? All right, moving on to next year's board.
So included in the packet was the new LEPC handbook from the state. And if you look on page Page am I on? I believe it's page 14, chapter 3, first page of chapter 3. They have their required representatives. So we pretty much have all these. What it would do is it would take out the private security and it would add in a representative from broadcast or print media. You'll also notice there's a community group in there, and I talked to the state and I use the sheriff as an example because I believe you're a Quanian, is that right?
I am.
So he meets both requirements. He's law enforcement and he meets the community group requirement. So we don't have to add another representative from a community group. So the question is, one, do we want to go ahead and eliminate the private security, which he hasn't been here for a while, and his business is now closed? And then two, how do we want to go about adding the media representative? I mean, what typically does the county do when there's a position open? Do they post it and let people apply?
You post a position, you can apply online. And in post a position, if you receive no applicants, then we would try ourselves. But am I correct to post it on it? Right. Absolutely. Absent somebody applying, then we would have to individually
Reach out to somebody.
Hey, Craig, who wrote these? Where did this come from?
From the planning division of the state. There's a specific group that does LEPC and
they-
Sarah Title III stuff.
Do they define the role they expect of that person during a disaster,
There's no role for any of them during a disaster.
or at least planning then?
Their role is just part of this committee. So I guess
This is a good time for me to make the statement. The new commission was sworn in yesterday, in fact, along with the sheriff. While I firmly believe I probably will be the representative of the county commission to this board, nothing would be final until after the 3rd of January. And the 3rd of January, there'll be what's called the organizational meeting. Board will elect a chair and vice chair. The chairman will then make the appointments to the various committees. I am assuming I will remain on it. Heretofore, I have been the only law enforcement individual, with law enforcement background, which was preferential. Well, now we have two. Obviously, Commissioner Ungst is previous law enforcement, but it is. I believe I will be the representative, but there is no guarantee until after January 3rd.
So I guess the first motion we need would be to add the media position.
You need a motion?
I'll make the motion to add the media position.
All right. A motion to add a media position? Second?
I'll second it.
Okay. We have any further discussion?
Is this a mandated position?
Yep, these are
So we're
required.
the motion stands for bylaws or just to comply with state requirement?
It would be to comply with the state requirement. And I'll have to look at the bylaws. I'm sure I'll have to add it to the bylaws, but I can always bring that.
Excuse me. So a motion to comply with the state mandate by adding a media position.
Well, If in fact this is gonna become part of the bylaws, then the motion should be to amend the bylaws to add this position.
That's exactly what I said.
Okay,
I will reflect that as such in the minutes.
next motion is to amend the bylaws to add a position for the media. Good? Okay. We have a second? All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? And the next would be to eliminate the private security position. This is strictly a vote, correct?
Well, that again, what else, because that used to be part of the state, so we'd have to amend the bylaws on that one too.
So we need an amendment to our bylaws, eliminate the private security position. A motion for that.
I'll make the motion to eliminate the private security in the bylaws.
Second,
I'll second.
have any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed?
Next is that everybody's term expires December 31st, so does everybody, other than the couple of requests we have for further on down on the agenda, but is everybody comfortable serving another 2-year term? Obviously, commissioners dependent on the commissioners, and we have no control over that, but
There will be a commissioner representative.
right. But I mean, we as a committee have no control who they appoint.
Does anyone,
Does anyone not want to
if
serve?
they want to step aside? We have a motion to reappoint the board as it sits. Corinne, have a second?
Second.
Tony? All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? All right,
Next, we need to elect chair and vice chair. I, as secretary, am mandated by the guidelines that the EM is the secretary of the committee, so we do need another chair, or we need to reappoint chair and vice chair. Do we have any, I guess first you gotta do nominations for the chair.
all right, we have nominations for the chair.
I would nominate Deputy Chief Van Alstine.
Or
Any further nominations for the chair? Guess we'll call a vote of the single nominee. All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? All right, we have a nomination for vice chair.
Current vice chair is the sheriff.
Or
Okay, we have a nomination, we have support. Any further nominees for vice chair? Okay, hearing none, we'll call a vote. All in favor of the vice chair being the sheriff? All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? All right, and secretary position is mandated,
Correct.
so that is taken care of
Unless
itself.
somebody else wants to do it.
Sure, you'll have lots of takers. The 2025 meeting schedule.
So that was also attached. It would follow the same schedule we've been on, which is the third, is this the third Tuesday? Today, the 16th, 17th. So the third Tuesday of the even months. 10 o'clock here.
New Public Works Road Commissioner.
We need a motion to accept
Oh, I'm sorry.
this.
Motion to accept the meeting schedule
I make a motion to accept the meeting schedule for
Thank
twenty
you, Nick.
twenty-five.
We have a second?
Second.
Second by Tony, all in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Now moving on.
So Dave Craig is retiring, I believe, in the next couple of days, aren't you?
Right.
So we have a new representative for the road commission. I'll let Dave introduce John.
John Veras, he's taken on the role of Director of Traffic Safety and Permits for the Road Commission. So he's accepted that position. Would like to be a part of this committee and serve in a role for Public Works.
Excellent. We need a motion to accept John, station replacement.
You just had it.
Can we have it? I'm
I
sorry.
make a motion.
I'm sorry.
John Veras.
I'm reading and whatever. Do we have a second?
Second.
Thanks, you. All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Welcome.
And he was informed that being his first meeting in February, the new guy has to bring breakfast, so I'll get out his contact information. You can email requests. And the last item is for the new alternate for the health department. I'll let Monica introduce John.
This is Justin Henry.
Justin, I'm sorry.
He's assumed the position of Emergency Preparedness Coordinator, so I am wanting to replace Cindy Merritt with Justin as an alternate.
All right, this one does not require commission approval because it's the alternate, correct? Okay. We have a motion to replace Cindy with Justin.
I'll make a motion to replace Cindy with Justin Henry.
All right, we have a second?
I'll second.
Second. Any discussion? All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? All to the public? Nothing? All right, next meeting, February 18th, 10 a.m. right here. We have a motion to adjourn.
I make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed?